"Ivan, you have saved my life," said the merchant. "How can I repay you?"
£3.
"No, you don't have to pay me anything, not even £3, for you are a fellow Cornishman." Well, even though Ivan tried to persuade him, the merchant continued along the new path, and Ivan went along the long old path. And sure enough, the new path came to the bridge over the River Tamar more quickly. And as the merchant came on his own towards the River Tamar, the skies opened and it started to rain. A storm broke. Lightning struck. And the merchant walked towards the river, and suddenly he saw an old woman by the path, and she had a burden upon her back. "Young man, help me, carry my burden. It is too heavy for me." "No, old woman," said the merchant, "I must get to the bridge before it is washed away in the floods." And he walked on. The storm raged louder. And Ivan came along that path and came to where the old woman was walking with the burden upon her back. "Young man, help me to carry my bag. It is heavy for me." "I can't," said Ivan. "I must get to the river and cross the bridge before it is swept away in the flood." And then he thought, "Well, what should I do here?
Respect your elders.
What should I do?"
Respect old age.
Respect old age, he remembered. Thank you for reminding me. And Ivan turned back and he said, "Give me that bag." And he put the burden on his back. And he walked step in step with the old woman towards that river, but the way was slow, for the burden was heavy. And now he came to where the river was, and the river was surely in flood, and the bridge had been washed away. And as Ivan stood looking at the great river Tamar in flood, he saw a hand reaching up. "Help me! Help me! I'm going to drown!" And you know whose hand that was? The merchant. For as the merchant had been crossing the bridge, he had been swept away. Well, Ivan waded into the river to reach for his friend the merchant. But the waters ran too rough and too strong, he could not reach him. But the old woman said, "Look inside the bag." And when Ivan opened that bag, inside, what did he find? A coil of rope. And he threw that rope out into the river, and the merchant caught hold, and Ivan pulled him to safety. "Ivan, you have saved my life again. You must let me reward you." "No," said Ivan. "You do the same for me. We're from Cornwall after all." That night, they could not cross the river. The flood was too strong. They stayed in the house of the old fisherwoman by the river. She fed them with some grilled fish. And in the morning, everything was calm. And the old woman put them inside her small boat, and she rowed them across the River Tamar and into the great county of Cornwall. Some say the great county of Cornwall. And when they got into Cornwall, the wonderful county of Cornwall, and when they got into Cornwall, they started walking, and they left the old woman behind, and they walked and they walked and they walked until they came to the small hamlet called Trerin, from which they both hailed. And when they came to the hamlet called Trerin, the merchant said goodbye to Ivan and wished him luck. But now Ivan had other thoughts in his mind. He was fearful. What would happen when he walked through his door? He hadn't seen his wife for 3 years. He had nothing to show her except a cake. Surely she would be furious. And when he opened the door, he was fearful. His heart was beating in his chest. But as he came through the door, he saw his wife holding in her hands gold coins. "Ivan, look what I found. It's gold coins. We're going to be all right. We're going to be rich." "Where do you get those gold coins, wife?" "I found them out in the street. They were in this purse." Ivan looked at the purse and he recognised the initials of the great lord of the manor, the man who owned all the land thereabouts. "We can't keep it." "We can, Ivan. You won't miss a few gold coins. With those few gold coins, we can build ourselves a new house. We can build ourselves a new life. He won't miss them." "I don't know," said Ivan. "What should I do?" Honesty. Wife given to me. Ivan wrestled the coins from his wife's hands and he put them in the purse, and his wife was furious. And off he went. He went to the gates of the great manor where the great lord of the manor lived. And when he got to those gates, there stood the chief guard of the manor. What do you want? Ivan gave the bag of coins to the chief guard and returned home. Make sure you give those to the great lord. Well, Ivan's wife was angry. She beat him. His life was intolerable. She would not feed him. She locked him out. It was an awful life. I hope that none of you have ever experienced something like that. And there he was. And after 3 days, there was a knock at the door, and there stood the great lord of the manor. Ivan! Bring me a cup of water from the well behind your house. Ivan went round back of the house, fetched a cup of water, gave it to the great lord. The great lord drank the water. Sir, you got your gold back all right, did you? I lost a purse of gold, Ivan, but I have seen no trace of it since. Ivan told the great lord how he had given it to the chief guard. They went back to the manor house together. The chief guard's room was searched. The purse was found under the mattress. The chief guard was banished, sent away from Cornwall, never to return. Poor man. Ivan! You are an honest man. You brought the gold back to me, and I know that you were in need. For the merchant has told me your story, how you earned nothing in 3 years in Cornwall. Keep the gold, Ivan. Ivan, I need a guard. And I can see you're a trustworthy man. The merchant told me how you saved his life, not once, but twice. I can trust you with my life. I will pay you handsomely. I will build you a new house next to mine. Ivan couldn't believe it. He went back home to his wife, and when he told her the news, how did they feel? Joyful. Their hearts were full of joy. And what did they do? They broke open to the cake, and perhaps you can imagine what they found inside.
£9.
Oh no, not £3. £9. £3 for every year he had worked for that Devon farmer. And that is the tale of Ivan.